There's some huge changes with the bus that are actually bigger than this bus. Let's get started. The other day, Mrs. Wizard was actually working on this bus and doing some things, and we actually came to an agreement. At this pace, it's going to literally take 5 years to get this thing done. And we'd like to go out and start enjoying things and go, do some RVing and things of that nature. We really don't like the idea of waiting 5 years to enjoy it. Can this project be done? Yes. Is it hard? No, not really. But it's excruciatingly time consuming. You can spend 10 hours on this bus and you really haven't made a whole lot of headway. And we only get so much time between have a YouTube channel, running a shop, and all the other things we got going on in life. We have kids too as well. 5 years is too long. So I've made another purchase. We'll do one last look around of this thing because it's going to be going up for sale. If somebody wants to take the lead and finish it up, they have a perfectly running and driving bus that's upgraded horsepower and now has 6 speeds. We won't be going any further with this one. And then after we get done looking at this one, we have a surprise for you guys. So this thing is like 26 or 28 feet long, something like that. It's on air suspension. It's a 2006 Eldorado Easy Rider 2. That's the actual name, make, and model and all that stuff. It has a Cummins 5.9, just like you'd find on a Dodge Ram. And it also has an Allison B300, which was a 5-speed transmission, but has been upgraded to 6-speed with a software update. It's in good shape. It runs and drives fine. But let's hop into the interior and show you where it's at. So it does have a seat that's included. It's from like a Peterbilt or something. It's an air suspension style seat that can go where a passenger can sit right here. It has front AC, front heater, 191,000 miles on it. And we do have some framework and things Mrs. Wizard has been doing. This is going to be a couch with storage underneath. You can see she has quite a bit of the framework already done. The wheel wells are going to be a dining area where you can put a table up right here or something, and it kind of looks like a chair already made for you there. Even comes with a layout, kind of an idea of where everything was going to go, already drawn up. And the refrigerator that is sitting on is a 12 volt / 120 volt, brand new. I also have a brand new toilet over there. All that will come with the bus, whoever wants to buy it. And in the back we can see 2 beds that were framed up and set up to where you can lay a mattress on them. They're basically ready to go. It's insulated underneath. There's also going to be storage underneath as well. There's tons of work that still needs to be done inside of here. Literally years of work. So let's go ahead and hop back to the engine bay area and show you the engine. Here is the huge engine. It looks bigger than it is. It's hard to believe that this fits into a Dodge Ram pickup. But it has the intercooler and everything, all the pipes, and it is around 275, 280 horsepower. It was 230, but I had it upgraded on the software. Here's our giant AC compressor that looks like a miniature engine all by itself. Everything runs good. It does need the AC system charged and serviced and gone through. I have not gone any further with that. As far as the engine's concerned, the fan, all that stuff works great. So we thought we'd be able to handle this in a year or two, but life got in the way, and also, like I just mentioned, all the other reasons, it's going to take a long time. I've actually watched a few videos of people who have done bus conversions, and there was a repeating theme that I kept seeing. It took me 5 years. One guy said it took me 7 years to get all through this. And I'm like, no, I don't have 5 years. I thought it would go a lot faster, but it's not. But I have a solution to this problem. So we're stopping on this Eldorado bus. It is for sale. Now let's head on out and show you the solution to this problem. No, this is not a schoolie. This is not a school bus. This is not a conversion. This is factory made. 1977 Bluebird Wanderlodge FC31 is the actual nomenclature for this bus. And it's broken. Well, actually it's not broken. It's missing parts. It's a really crazy story. My arm's getting tired of holding up this grill, so I'll go ahead and let it down. to reveal there's parts missing to this bus. I purchased this from a person in Texas, and it was advertised as so. Missing the radiator, missing the steering gearbox, missing the fan in the shroud, missing several different other parts. So it's all known up front. I bought it that way on purpose. This is the Cat 3208. It's a little over 200 horsepower. It seems to be in good shape. We're going to be finding out in the next video as we dive in deeper what exactly kind of condition this thing is in. It does turn over. I got a wrench on it and spun the motor by hand, and it turns freely, turns very well. So the story on this thing is that the previous owner had bought it. It ran fine, it drove fine. He took it to a shop to have some services done and ensure that it's safe for the road after he bought it. And this shop owner gave him a $15,000 list of all kinds of things that needed to be replaced and repaired to make it safe for travel. They put $7,500 down to have all these repairs done. Some of the work was started. As you can see, they pulled parts off. And then the shop went bankrupt. And the shop owner disappeared, missing in action, gone. I don't know all the details. Kind of the idea, what I get is they went to retrieve their bus through the court system or however it worked out, I don't know. They finally got their bus back. They can never find the parts. Where are these parts? Where do they put them? They can't get a hold of the owner because he's gone. He hit the road with their money. So they were at a loss, and they were at a point, they already shelled out $7,500, which is now fully lost. They had just a little bit left to continue on with any kind of repairs, and now they're stuck with this. So they said, well, we got to sell it. There's nothing we can do with this now. Isn't that a sad story? It's a really, really strange situation that I've heard of happening before. It's not too uncommon. You really need to check out the shops you go to, make sure they're reputable. Ask around people or people that might have used their services before. But anyways, that's the story of the bus. Let's go take a look at this thing. Let's look around it. So if you're looking at the design behind me and you say, that doesn't look like 1977, and there's a lot of features on this bus that looks like 1988, 1989. And that's because about that time, the first owner, the original owner, had this bus completely redone to make it look like 1989 or 1988 range FC wanderlodge. So it's been fully updated and upgraded. It looks really nice. I think it looks really great. Also, of the parts list I just mentioned, the other thing that's missing is the entire drive shaft. It's gone. It's kind of a strange situation, but I have looked around online. These things, when they're fully operational in really good shape, they're easily $40,000. I got this one for $12,000. So let's go ahead and look around the sides, then we're going to go inside and check it out. Here's the front area where the batteries would go. The battery tray is missing. You can see that the drag link is there. Right there you can see where the steering gearbox would be if it wasn't mysteriously misplaced and gone. But actually I have another one on order. I found one. We'll move on down the line here. You can see that the paint's shiny. It's in good shape. There's our black water outlet there. This is probably the stove or something like that, a vent. Let's take a peek in here. It looks like a air duct, some hose. I don't know what that goes to. Maybe that's... I'm still learning a lot about this thing, guys. I have a lot to figure out. We have to really go through this bus and see what's all here, what's stock, what's been changed, modified. You can see a true charger back there for the batteries. It has some fairly new tires on it. They're Hercules H802s. And you can tell they really don't have very many miles on them. They still have the nipples and stuff on them. Maybe that was something that was done when this shop owner worked on it, or I'm not sure, but they are fairly new. What's behind door number 3? Wood blocks. Looks like a sewer pipe, black water pipe, and some blue AstroTurf. Sorry for the wind noise. It is Kansas and it's always windy here, at least most of the time. And as Miss Wizard pans around, you can see that there is a ladder on the back. You can actually climb up on the roof, and there's a storage container up there and some AC units. I'm not going to be going up there today. But here's where you put some fuel at, one of the fuel tanks. There's a gas tank and then there's a diesel tank. The gas tank's for the generator. Let's see what's behind door number 4. Looks like trash. Just some brown paper, a few rags and starting fluid or something, or yep, just junk in there. Let's move on to door number 5, an Onan generator. It looks like it is 6,500 watts. I have no idea if it runs, if it's any good. Those will be some of the things we'll kind of explore together through these videos. This door here goes into the interior, which is Mrs. Wizard's domain, so we'll take a look inside of there in a minute. But the steps are not stock wanderlodge. These are some kind of electric upgrades where there's a switch inside and you can raise them and lower them. Right now they're kind of halfway down. Here's door number 6, I think we're at. Looks like a propane tank. I have no idea if it's full or not. Some of the things we're seeing, that's why I bought a bus that's already been done, is because I would rather fix a system that's already there than have to spend months engineering and designing and starting from scratch. It just takes way too much time. We have one more door to go on the outside. Looks like the windshield washer bottle, some spare parts. That's about it. Some cable or wiring or something. So that's pretty much it on the sides of this bus. Let's go ahead and open the door into the interior and let Mrs. Wizard show you guys around.
Welcome, ladies and gents. This is one thing that is different than the bus that's in the shop right now, is we've got to walk stairs up into here. The other one had that nice ramp, and that ramp that could go down, but okay. Things we trade out for in life. The first thing, we're going to go ahead and just start with our view back here. Start in the kitchen, because that's the way we've pointed the camera. First thing we note is it looks like it has a gym floor. And while it's nice and lovely, it looks like probably made out of oak, we've got some waves back there. Not so sure what happened, might be just temperature. Not so sure how thick the wood is either. Is it a real thin laminate or is it thicker? Will I be able to sand it down? Do I need to replace it? Don't know yet, but I definitely don't like that. I can tell that it's done in planks. It's not board by board. They're done by 3 boards about 5 feet long. So got to figure out what's going on there. As we kind of move into our space here, here is my kitchen. One thing that's nice is that it's definitely a kitchen space. We do have some counters, and this would have been the case in the bus in the garage as well, that the counters are low to make sure we don't cover up any of the windows. But the windows have curtains, and they don't look like they're in bad shape. They probably need to get washed because they probably have a dingy smell. It does smell kind of musty in here. Definitely need to maybe spray some kind of, you know, freshening smell in here. Get some stuff like Gonzo, for example. It's a good way to get rid of musty smells. But we've got some counter space up here. Got tons of storage. And when we go into this one, you'll see that this one actually has the marker for that this is a Bluebird bus. This isn't a schoolie. This is a full conversion bus that was sent from the factory like it is now, in some variation. The Wizard has told me that no 2 buses of the wanderlodge series were ever exactly the same, because they would say, hey, what do you want? And they would customize the design. While many features are going to be similar between buses, you may not have the exact layout, which is kind of cool. Now, is it built on a school bus chassis? Yep, pretty much. Many things are going to be similar, but not exact. So we've got storage under here, lots of storage under here, we've got storage up here, and they've got just a very simple clip up there. And then this one has a shelf in the inside, and notice that our vinyl from the ceiling wraps all the way down into there as well. As I move further into the kitchen space, we definitely have some of this kind of an almond color that wraps around. Got a nice countertop here. I like the roundness here and the roundness that covers our stove. So if you are happening to be walking in the bus when it's moving, you're not going to, get sliced or get a nice bruise on your hip hitting this. But underneath our wood here, our board here, you'll see we have a 4-burner stove, which is propane lit. Microwave browner convection oven in here as well. Don't know if it works, but we'll try it out eventually. This lovely thing, ice maker, cool. Don't know if it works, but everything, you're gonna hear that a lot. Don't know if it works, but that's where we're at. A little sink, nothing crazy, okay? But definitely love the covers on it. Helps increase that counter space. One thing, we've got the lovely Bluebird towels. Built-in blender. Yes, built-in blender. This is one thing that the Trojan had that was handy. Cup holders. Now the problem with the Trojan's cup holders that were designed in, they were really small. The holes were really small. These look like they're gonna be easier to find cups that actually fit in there. Got the fridge, got the freezer that have little locks on them to make sure they just don't go flopping open. They don't smell bad. They smell kind of like plastic. Have a closet in here, nothing fabulous, opens closet. You don't need to see it, it's closet, nothing's in there. One thing that is missing is there should have been a door that had gone here. So I'm not so sure what we're gonna do here. There's not a lot of space here at the bottom to put a door. So that's one thing to address, but that's pretty minuscule considering we have a whole lot of other things to figure out first. So the wizard and I apparently are not supposed to sleep in the same bed, at least when traveling. Because for some reason, we have 2 separate bunks here. We had 2 separate bunks in the Trojan. We had 2 separate bunks that were going to be in the other bus. Okay, I'm okay with that. We've been married long enough. I don't have to sleep with him in the same bed. He's fine over here. I'll be fine over here. We are missing the mattresses, which I think I'm okay with. These would have been 46-year-old mattresses if they're original to the bus. Ew. So I'm kind of okay with them not being here. We can buy mattresses, get that filled in. Definitely have more storage in here. The storage wraps all the way around. Got a lovely Bluebird clock with some speakers up there. Again, don't know if they work, don't know if the clock works. But more storage here, and this storage wraps all the way around the entire upper part. Underneath, some sections, this section has a drawer, the left side does not. And many of these boards on the top are screwed in place. So they're not meant to be just, hey, can I lift up, tuck something in? So we're gonna have to figure out what's underneath there. Obviously we've got some wheel wells happening, but what other spaces there? Not that we're desperate for storage, but on a bus, any storage is good storage. So we'll figure that out. Let's move to the living room. Okay, on our way, let's make a quick pit stop at the bathroom. And while it is not gargantuan, it is definitely not itty bitty microscopic. Have a full-size toilet. We've got a small but functional shower over there. Got a sink area. You're seeing a lot of Harvest Gold, and Harvest Gold. Well, that may be what we're keeping. But at least it's only in a few spots. As we look in here, we've got a little medicine cabinet. These are made out of plexi, so they can just slide in and out actually. So they keep these from falling out when you're traveling, or at least when you stop to open it the first time. Got a simple little drawer here. Looks like it's magnetically kept. And then we have more space underneath as well. Mirrored, of course. On our way back to the living room, I'm noticing that especially up here, looks like they tried to solve some maybe sagging with some silicone. Had a couple other spots, so there's some things that need to be addressed. Can I figure out why was it put here? I don't think it was for water. I don't see staining of water. What I see is maybe this was separating, this was curling at some point. Got some curling going on right here. So definitely need to get this to go back up. That'll be one thing I'll need to address. But here we are in the living room. It does have some interesting, mind you, dirty carpet at the moment. And the zigzags are darling. Yeah, not so sure if that's gonna stay. All of this carpet though everywhere else. There's carpet on the back bunks, there's carpet underneath the sofa. I think those days are numbered for those carpeted areas, but the ground, we'll see. The carpet that's going around the wheel well and the engine cover, that's more challenging. It almost has to be something that is pliable. It's hard to cover that in a metal or a wood, and you really don't want to bang your foot on those, so I see why they use carpet. mind you, may not be the most attractive. But here we are in our living room space. We do have a full-size sofa, and that does pull out, and I'll show you that in just a second. We do have 2 chairs, and the chairs are needing some reupholstery. They're definitely showing their wear. I can weave myself in. So gonna have to get that addressed. This one is bolted to the floor, does pivot. This one over here has a structure that has it bolted to the wheel well, so it can't move, but again, it does pivot. It does come with a mobile table, which I am anticipating was probably used as a workbench at some point because somebody misjudged where they were cutting and cut into the actual table. So might use some wood filler, fill that in, see if I can at least make it to where it can be used not so ugly. But I'm guessing that this table was used for the people that sat at the sofa. This, and it pulls, that's too far. You can't go too far with this because it's very simple, just a board, but it does say here, and it is pretty sturdy. If we pull it out all the way, you'll see that it just goes so far, and that's it. And it just has a lovely space behind with a few things tucked back in there. One thing I'm noticing in the bus is a lot of plug-in outlets. There's some here, I've seen there's some up there, there are several in the bathroom, some in the kitchen. That's one thing that's great because the other bus was not wired well. One thing we don't know about the wiring is obviously the household outlets are going to be 110. We don't know what these guys are. Are these guys going to be 110? Are they 12 volt? Which ones do we need to trade out? Do they even work? Is there even a bulb in there? Hard to tell. So what we can trade out to be LED, we are totally going to do that. We just need to know which system we're going to be putting that on, the 110 to 12 volt. We've done plenty between the other campers we've owned in the past, before the big bus, and on the boats as well. But as you can see, tons of storage up here. Again, storage, 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 storage. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the sofa. So the sofa pulls out pretty simply. These are little roller cushions. We're not careful, but it pulls out pretty, and it does pull out even farther. I'm not going to do that just for the sake of video today. But if we look down here, we've got the other wheel well, and we've got some of the heating components for the bus as well. As I pull this down, oh, also we have seat belts as well. As we pull this down though, you can see it should go out farther. I'm not going to do that just for the sake of video today, but it does pull out and would probably make a full-size bed. So this really could easily sleep 4 people pretty easily. The one thing I'm most worried about, obviously Wizard's got his issues with finding the pieces and parts that are missing from the bus, including the drive shaft. That one's baffling to me personally, but I'm seeing some mold over here. I don't know where the mold has come from. Why is it there? We've not seen any water damage on this bus at all, so I'm not exactly sure where that is and why it's there. We have to get that addressed. I'm not so worried about any damage it might have done to the fabric because, well, this is lovely blue fabric. I think we can update that. And I'm wondering, some of the mustiness, that could probably have soaked into the cushions and they could use some freshening. So let me put this back together and we'll address a few more things. So one thing that I've noticed that is very reminiscent of the 80s era is the access in the cab area. So we haven't really opened this up yet, but there was such a thing with the vans of the 1980s was to have area to reach for in the front, in the hood, and then inside as well. So that'll be fun to look at when we get to that time. But again, it is carpet wrapped, which makes it a little bit nicer as you're trying to, get into there, because it is kind of a tight fit. I imagine this turns. Yes, she turns. So you could at least potentially have another person sit here. I don't think the driver's seat will turn that much, not enough space, and why would a driver's seat need to turn? But this one could turn and face back to the people in the living room. We have a lovely vinyl wrapped dash area. The whole thing down there where the vents are, the whole part up there wrapped around our gauge cluster. We'll talk about the gauge cluster in a second, but we've got 2 ashtrays, one for the driver and for the passenger, and a very small cup holder. This guy is loose, so I'm not sure what we're going to do with that, but it may need to be addressed from the brown naga hide it is now. So that's enough of the interior, at least for our first go around today. Why don't I take that camera away from the Wizard? Hopefully I have had ahead most of this video section. He's smiling, so I'm thinking I have been decapitated a few times. He's saying no. Yeah, we'll find out when I edit. But let me trade out spots and he can show you the gauge cluster.
So here on the driver's seat, and one thing that's very interesting that looks like a little TV you could watch TV on is actually a backup camera all the way from 1977. A CRT backup camera. You can see the lines just like you see on your Ford Explorer or whatever car you have. It has all those lines on it. I don't even know if it works yet.
I've already seen replacements on Amazon. You can get a 3-camera backup and see the sides.
Oh, good. Here's all of our gauges. You can see diesel for the main engine, gas for the generator, 2 different fuel gauges. There's our cruise control, lights, speedometer, oil pressure, both air pressures, water temperature, charging, volts, and a tachometer. There's several other little things down here like a master power for the cabin. There's several switches, I don't know what they do, and here's our shifter.
Wizard, I'm seeing a little bit of light down there at your feet.
Yes, that's where they removed the steering gearbox, and they removed the cover that goes around there as well.
Odd air conditioning for you now?
No, but I've got one on order. We can get it all hooked back up and put it back together. And up here we have a header control panel. It has a stereo made by Craig. Thanks, Craig. We have wipers, washers, auxiliary pump, clearance lamps, panel lock, defrost, heat, all kinds of switches, air conditioner. It says off, highway, and city. I don't know what's the difference for your air conditioner there, but okay. Stereo volume. All kinds of switches in this bus, literally hundreds of them. So again, we have our work cut out for us, but not nearly as much as the other Eldorado bus. We have 5 years of work on that bus. This one can be done in a year or less. Just fix the systems that are in place, replace the missing parts. This is going to be a continuation of the bus series, but on a different bus. Like I said, the other one is for sale. Contact Crazy D in the office if you want to purchase that one. Otherwise, if we don't hear any interest out of it, we'll be putting it up on auction. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to work on this bus or any other updates in the interior, you could check Mrs. Wizard's Way. She'll probably have some videos on her channel showing some things that she's doing here in the interior. And again, any of the tools we use in the shop in there or on this bus will be in our Amazon affiliates link in the description below also. And make sure to hit the subscribe button for Car Wizard channel here because there's tons of cool videos coming for you guys. Thanks for watching. This thing's kind of wiggly, Mrs. Wizard.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be addressed there, Wiz.